Good evening. Welcome to the Toon review on a blessed Sunday night. We've had a massive weekend of sport. Stafford's got a massive mouth of barbecued burger in his mouth. But apart from that, everything's great. But if you are new to us, hit that like button, please, and subscribe to the channel by clicking subscribe clearly. We are on our way to 31,000 subscribers. Super chats are also available by clicking on the $sign, and memberships too by clicking the join sign and becoming part of the Toon review community. Welcome to you two. Have you had a good day?
I mean, not as good as Alex's with a barbecue. Love that.
I was thinking.
Well, I've barely even had one yet. Bad timing. Got to do the show first.
You've got priorities
as well. I've gone all red, so it's been a hot weekend.
It has been nice, hasn't it? This weekend.
It has been a hot weekend. Yes.
It started with a signing of sorts. A young Serbian defender from the Serbian second division, highly rated by Nemanja Matic of all people. A centre back, by all accounts, who can play centre defensive midfield. Is this a Paul Mitchell signing, you think, Stato?
It's very possible. So this has been quite known for a few weeks now, as somebody managed to snap a photo of him going into the club shop. It took a couple of hours for people to figure out who it was, but Twitter detectives, you say what you want about Twitter, sometimes it's fantastic because they figured out who it was pretty much immediately. I had no idea who it was. So, and then a lot of people pretending to know who he is and what he does. I don't, and I will be brutally honest. So we're going to have to do some research. I have been in contact with some people who know Serbian football a lot better. Well, that's their main thing. So there's a few people that we've reached out to, and we'll try and do some good content on him specifically and do the show justice instead of just having a vague look at some random clubs we'll do it properly. So
good stuff. And it's part of the building of the young setup, Sam. You would just say, not just a case of buying big star signings, it's building from beneath as well, which is quite important when you're trying to create a dynasty, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think probably arguably, we don't know for sure, but typically the profile that Mitchell tends to go for, young, promising. We've already seen some fantastic advocacy for this guy as well. So really great to see him in the black and white top. The development that he could have here at Newcastle, considering I would like to think that they're going to be more highly invested in. We've already seen a great deal of new signings for our academy team anyway, who've signed professional contracts this season. So yeah, on the up and great. He's not going to be probably a start and first team player. No problem. He's here for long run development, which is great.
I can see Stats has a picture of him there on the screen share. I'm going to show it. Shows the picture of Mr. Kieran Clark lookalike mirror drag. He's very Kieran Clark, isn't he?
Miodrag Pivaš. I don't know if the S in Serbian with the little upside down hat is a sh, but we'll go with Miodrag Pivaš, I think, from FK Jedinstvo, which I think means first in Serbian, if it's any similar to Polish. So there he is. There's the young man, and he actually had a little quote to say as well. They've done a little graphic on Newcastle's Twitter, and these are his words apparently. So I see the young players have developed very well here, and I would like to do the same to develop and get into Newcastle's first team. I'm very excited and can't wait to begin.
Excellent. That's what you want to hear, isn't it, from new signings? Ambition
Absolutely.
And things like that. Yeah.
Exactly the word that I was looking for, Billy. Ambition. And we've seen the same with other recent signings as well. That drive of this is the first team, this is what we're aiming for. That's the glide path that these young players really want to be on. And I think it's quite promising that we're not only selling a dream, but we're actually helping in their development as well. So yeah, great stuff. Really excited to see more of them in the future.
Let's do a few comments, shall we? Let's do a few comments and see
killing
what's going. John Alvington says, hi, guys. Do you think that Newcastle will sign a centre-back, right wing and a striker before the Japan tour? I guess if everything's equal, yes, they would want to. But whether we do or not.
No, I don't think they will. I think they'll sign someone, but trying to get all three of your ideal signings in before the Japan tour, like it depends if we get our first choices and even then second and third choices, and are there any negotiation issues? Like, as long as we get them before the window closes, like obviously sooner is better, but it's not how the transfer window works. Unfortunately, we're not Man United. We're not going to go, how much you were 30 here, take 63. We're not going to do that. We're not just going to double valuations and just give people money. We can't afford to write that off. We don't have the revenue for it to just be silly. So
this was an interesting story as well. And Toon speaks about it. What a cock up by Adidas selling Newcastle away tops in the New York store before the release date. Did anyone see that on Twitter? It was a picture of this.
I did, yeah. The lovely dynamic mannequin in the New York Adidas store. There for all to see. Absolutely. I mean, is it a mistake, or is it reaching out to that broader global audience? I don't know. I think it's. I can't imagine I can't imagine Adidas making a mistake of that magnitude. I think this might be part of that global recognition. It's odd, nevertheless. So, but yeah, I've seen it and it's banging. Love it.
Yeah, Rufia Benishan says the Magpie Magpie feather training top as well. Could be deliberate for publicity, and they've restocked with the wrong shirt as it was on the 5th of July. And now Newcastle United football club shirts were in the store. And he sort of goes on to say the store in question where it was seen was a flagship store on 5th Avenue.
Yes,
very interesting.
Very interesting. Funny that it wasn't some deadbeat place. It was
Backstreet place.
Yeah.
This is why I'm thinking this has got to be some type of PR marketing. Let's just stir things up a little bit. Let's start getting excited. It's coming soon. I mean, the away is a beautiful tip of the cap to the history, of course, of the club and those famous tops that we saw, and the feathers. The magpie feathers. I keep seeing stuff online and people are like, what is it with the magpie feathers? I need it. I need it in my life.
Another bit of news over the weekend was pretty run-of-the-mill news, stuff we've said a few times. It's about Callum Wilson. Again, he's injured by all accounts. Not a great start to the season, is it?
I'm not overly happy about that because we spent quite a decent period of the show, a few shows recently, talking about him staying fit, and then he's gone and done that. So, I mean, I'll repeat what I said before. He doesn't want to get injured. He wants to stay fit. He knows he's a lethal finisher, and he's got buckets of talent and quality, and he'll be furious because he wants to stay at the top end of football. You know, he's when he's fit, he's on the cusp of being a Champions League quality player, although he is losing his legs a bit. And I think it must be hella frustrating for him. He must be very annoyed. But we also want to win football matches as a club, and we need a strong squad. And Callum's not he's not let us down himself, but his body is letting him down, and by an extension is letting us down as well. It's not again, I don't want to be mean to Callum because he's so on point and so professional, but it is just such a massive shame. And I don't know where we go from here. I don't know. I don't think anybody would take him right now.
What I'm saying is a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because any potential sweeters aren't going to be encouraged by another injury, are they?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people aren't going to like this. I think we just bite the bullet and just keep him. And then when his contract runs out, let him do what he wants. If he's okay with that. But
we may not have a choice. Yeah,
I think you're right, Billy. I think is it that we've had, I believe we've had the choice taken away. The opportunity is no longer in our hands. Yeah. You're right, Alex. Ironically, we did some shows going, yeah, we'll keep him, take a punt. You know, like he's reliable off the bench. He scores goals, which is fantastic. That's what we need. I don't think this is a will issue at all. It's a capability. And I think that's the concern now. Is he capable of staying fit? We know that he wants to play. He trains very, very hard. Like even in off season, he keeps his fitness the best he possibly can. But if he is in the headquarters of Adidas, uber amazing training facility, and playing swimming Marco Polo and, table tennis and gets injured. He obviously has been training as well. But to that extent, that doesn't bode well. I'd keep him as a third, but that means we desperately need to now find a striker, don't we, Billy?
100%. I think we needed one anyway, but even more so now. We can't go with one striker.
There are a few people offering some additional context that I didn't know. A few people saying that it might have been on purpose, not for an injury. It might have been something they've picked up. Ali and Neil saying the same thing. Potentially, they've sent him to go and get this done because it was. Maybe he's not injured. Maybe it was just something that they've identified as a weakness or a problem area, and to go and get some things tidied up before the season starts, surgically and rehabilitation-wise, prehab. All of the above. It's an interesting theory, possibly.
The 11th hour tidying up, though, Alex. You go to the barbers and get yourself a new fade. Get yourself a trim. You don't.
It's the new guy, isn't
medical
it?
Procedure.
It'll be Bunce's influences, won't it? It'll be the new people. So it's not that it was purposefully really late. It's that the new guys have gone right. Let's get cracking with this. Again, we could all be completely wrong. Maybe he just slipped and fell in the pool. Who knows?
They had no water in it. Yeah. And then an anvil dropped on his head from a cliff or
no, Callum, not that one. There's no water in that. Oh, too late.
Oh, gosh.
Another story. This has had nothing to do with this, but we're talking about kits earlier. And Everton have gone to our former kit suppliers, Castor, and the first game they used it, the badges fell off them. Did anyone see that?
That was funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
We did warn them.
We did indeed. Another story that broke last night going into this morning. I think it was a Sunday Express. Man City still apparently really keen on Bruno. This time they're offering 70 million plus a sweetener of a loan for a year of either Oscar Bobb or Rico Lewis. Really? Is that what it's come to now? A sweetener for £100 million player, a loan of a player for a year? Come on.
Oh, TNT have deleted their post. So off the back of that, Billy, a few people in football today have been saying that Kevin De Bruyne has agreed terms with Al Ittihad in Saudi. I retweeted it from TNT Sports. They have since deleted it. So they have backtracked very, very quickly. Romano has quickly poo-pooed this as well and said it's nonsense. So a lot of people in the chat referencing that. I think it's false. I think it was the Mail and TNT Sports are saying that Kevin De Bruyne is off to Saudi, and then everyone else is saying it's nonsense. So, and then off the back of that, obviously, it's concerning because Bruno is a decent fit for City. Obviously, they're not the same player, nowhere near, but he's got City written all over him. Bruno has, in terms of he could easily fit into that squad at the drop of a hat. But we don't want him to drop his hat, keep his hat.
But it is again another press intrusion into the Newcastle United kind of episode at the minute, isn't it, Sam? It's not good stuff, is it?
It's ego. It's ego talking. Again, this entitlement of, you have a star player, what an absolute talent, who is the maestro who you're building a squad around, like one of your top 3 players, and we're just going to come in and offer you 70, 80 mil when we had 100 mil release clause, and then we'll throw in a couple of players for the season, take our sloppy seconds that we're not really going to need because they're your standard. Jog on. No,
it wasn't even both. It's one of the two.
One of the two? No, absolutely not. Be gone.
The journalism's not changed since yesterday. Well, not yesterday. What day is today? Sunday. When we had the Friday rant about journalists, it's been a mixed bag since then. I've kept an eye on everything since then. You've got Daniel Davis, who I've never heard of, who is a Daily Mail writer, dropped the article at 11 minutes to 1 a.m. Newcastle will approach Mauricio Pochettino if Eddie Howe leaves to become England's next manager after 3 lines number 1 target sent Magpies warning over dynamics at the club. Massive clickbait article there from, again, Daniel Davis from the Daily Mail. All he's basically done in the article is gone, Paul Mitchell's there. Paul Mitchell knows Pochettino and brought him into the Premier League originally. So let's put loads of puzzle pieces together and make a big clickbaity headline, essentially, which is terrible. But then completely threw me this next one. Louise Taylor, who seemingly writes normally quite bad things about us. Eddie Howe seeks right dynamic as Newcastle future comes under question, which I thought was a quite modest, fair article. Ginger Perlo pointed out on Twitter, and I had a read of it. It was actually fine. It wasn't too provocative. It was generally the facts. So really mixed from all the journalists over the last few days. But they really are trying to sell our players for us massively.
Scandalous.
And you know what? They're very much grabbing a hold of, on that day, the Adidas training camp, in my understanding, is that Eddie, rather than having one large press conference with everybody there and everybody got the opportunity to ask the questions, but you hear the same response to whatever question it was, he did individual interviews. So there's always going to be hues of the opinion that comes through when you reiterate your inner thoughts to an audience. So there's always going to be different iterations of it, which is fine. What all of them seem to be grabbing a hold of and using in probably a negative light is that line regarding as long as I'm happy. Well, doesn't that just appeal to any job that anybody does anywhere? Like, people have just grabbed a hold of that and thought, oh well, Amanda and me, Dad have gone and they were Eddie's backers, and now he said this thing, it's really cryptic. Yeah, is it that cryptic, or is it just having some self-worth and just being able to say, as long as the fit's still right for me and I'm doing the right job and doing it in the way I want to, then yeah, of course I'm going to stay. I don't think he could have been any more committed in the statements that have come out from those interviews. I don't know how you feel about it, Billy.
It's more cryptic where the press are involved though than cryptic, I'd say. And this again, this kind of ties in with this. We apparently made an inquiry for Oscar Bobb's availability. I'm sure the press have thought, Newcastle going after a Man City starlet? That's not on. Let's get Newcastle's best player linked with Man City. That's how I think they work, how they operate. I'm sure it is. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but God, I'm kind of quite vindictive in my old age. I've got to say.
We're here for you. This is group therapy for all the Toon community.
Chris says, how much do you reckon we'd get for selling Wilson to the spam factory? Not a lot. Not a lot, to be fair.
I mean, this is an interesting one, Alex. We had the opportunity to sell Callum. Do you think, given that this is going to be the start of the season, the rumours that went round, do you think, obviously he's coming to the end of a contract, have we diminished a lot of that sale value now, especially with this latest injury blow?
That's a good question. Right, if there's a school of thought here that if we've gone and done a preemptive surgery, that would indicate they want him for the rest of the season. You wouldn't do that if you want to shift him. The window's open. You shift him now, as soon as you can, preferably pre-PSR issue. So if there's truth in the fact that they've gone and done some surgery to try and improve him and keep him fit for this year, that's not for the benefit of the selling club, unless we're just being extremely kind, which maybe we are. I mean, we've done that with other players. We've let players train with us and stay with us to after their contracts have expired. Matty Longstaff for one, and to try and get fit to find another club after their contract's finished. So I don't even know how to finish this. Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one. It is a funny one.
Well, it's hard to get any money out of it, surely. He might be fit by the end of the season if he's had a back operation, for instance.
I just think we keep him now. I just think that's it. There's no point. I just think we keep him because let's say he's going to be available for 15, 20 appearances, it'll be useful. It'll be a good 15 or 20 appearances that's going to be really decent for us. And I would rather that than a really low amount that we can't reinvest in somebody useful. It is a shame, but Man United fans in the chat, that always brings a downer on everybody's day, doesn't it? No matter what shirt you wear.
Oh,
disrespectful.
That's the political news. Joe Biden is out of the presidential race. Wow, that's very interesting.
I think he's going to step down, isn't he? But yeah.
Well, step down, fall down, one of the two.
God, there goes the world.
At least didn't take a fake bullet to do him, though. So there you go. No, did I just say that out loud?
Oh.
Sorry,
it just flew past my ear.
Right, here we go then. Let's. Have we got any players, Stato, transfer wise?
Well, I was just going to bring up a post for Sam very quick.
Go on and do that.
Which is the ladies' game for the Cellar weekend. There's the announcement that they are playing AC Milan, which is a big one. I was.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I was one of those, and I need to get out of this. I was one of those where I was thinking, I don't know who they're going to play, and I'm in and ahhing. And maybe we shouldn't do that because that is a fantastic announcement, and we should support them irrespective of who they're playing, really. But they've absolutely pulled that out of the bag because it was to be confirmed last week. So, thoughts, Sam, on AC Milan ladies?
Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal that we've in it. It's really going to be an honor. I follow all of the lasses on their social media accounts, and they are speaking to it being a real honor. And we need to sort of reflect on, the past of the ladies, where they've come from. It was only recently that they became a permanent paid part of the club. They were actually not even a fully integrated arm of Newcastle United. So to actually now be where we are of a double promotion and now going into play a team like AC Milan, my God, phenomenal. So really exciting. It'll be fantastic for the lasses. I'm devastated I'm not going to be able to be there, but yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. So I'm very jealous of all those who've got tickets for it.
No, I'm going.
I
am, yeah, very excited.
Don't say this is a post for Sam. This is a post for you to gloat. That is cool. Enjoy.
Mind you will be at the Olympics, won't you, Sam? So
I will. I'm very excited.
If it's indeed a second prize, it's a good one.
Yeah, I'll make sure I get some footage. I'm really excited about going, and I am hoping to get one of the women's football tournaments. Hopefully that medal match as well, the final.
Cool. Yeah. Peter Sean says, "Good evening, Billy, Alex, and Lady Sam. Hope you're all having a great weekend. Best wishes from a very wet part of Norway." Well, it's not wet in England for once today. It's been very warm. Tom Lynch says, "Alex, I saw Barry from Our Feeder saying pet in the episode when he was on the sunbed." I'm not sure about that. I mean,
no.
Barry always looked like a radish, even without going on the sunbed, and Stato looks nothing like bloody Barry. Well, a penis killed.
Yeah, don't link me with people called Barry, please.
Oh dear, that's a good one. I like that one. Did anyone see the hurling match on BBC? Absolutely not. No. There was some hurling on Sky earlier, darts, but not Irish hurling. I watched a lot of cricket and golf today, to be honest, and a bit of cycling and a bit of F1, actually, strangely enough. I don't really like it. But
we do have a super chat, Billy. I don't know if you're able to see it.
I'm going to look at it now. It's from Conor Mattia. He says, if nobody's through the door before the Japan trip, panic station, there's something not well behind the scenes. Just an observation, not negative. Discuss. Well, I don't think it's negative, but
it is.
Frustrating would be the word I'd use. I'd be more frustrated, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, Alex, but I mean, you said panic stations, so by that.
Disclaimer: before anybody speak, I'm panicking.
I mean, in what scenario is panic stations positive?
Don't panic! Don't panic!
I mean, it's a fair point, and we respect the opinion, Connor, and it absolutely might be. It might come to pass. It might be truth. I'm more relaxed. I'm not too bothered about that. Again, we said it earlier. As long as we've got the right business in by the end of the window, these transfer windows nowadays can get really complicated. Especially people know who we are now and where we're trying to get to, and trying to get as much money out of us as possible. It's a bit different. Yeah, I don't know why everybody's setting that sort of line in the sand. Why does it matter before we've gone to Japan? What about 3 days into the Japan tour? What about 2 days after? Does it really matter? Is it that important?
I don't know, Alex. I think it might be more for if we are signing players perhaps from that part of the world, is it a great marketing opportunity? I believe that's where the angle is coming from, for that to be that, oh my goodness, we've got this milestone match in Japan, which equals we need to have players in by that time. I'd like to think we're probably being a little bit more cautious behind the scenes. We're doing our homework, we're doing our due diligence, and we're making sure that we make the right deals for Newcastle United rather than us jumping in and having knee-jerk reactions. Let's just buy up whoever we can. We need to be careful with the kitty that we've got, but I believe that's the angle that they're coming from. If it's anybody from that part of the world, we could have massive revenue generation and create global fans if we have those types of players on the books before they go.
Dr. Alex, and this could be cryptic. Too soon for new players for the Japan tours. These competitions have held up transfers, but it's a slow transfer. Interesting. There you go. If Eddie Howe accepts the England job, who would you want as replacement? Says RJ. Pochettino for me.
Nagelsmann
for Stato. Sam?
I wouldn't mind either of those, actually. I don't want to think about Eddie leaving personally. I think he's got more to prove. I think there's probably other equal contenders in for the England job, but to be honest, either. I remember doing a little bit of research on Nagelsmann, and he looked great. Lots of experience. So yeah, well, I would probably be leaning towards Nagelsmann. Yeah.
Liverpool are interested in Cubo, according to Russell.
Oh,
that's a bit down on a Sunday night for Sam.
Oh, no.
Potentially ruin somebody's holiday at the same time.
I could see him going to Liverpool, to be fair.
Could you?
Oh.
Mickey Cubo?
Mickey Kubo, yeah.
I hope he's shit and fails.
Pivash definitely has potential from what I've seen of him. Would like to see him get minutes in the cups. We shall see.
Some of his YouTube stuff looks fantastic, but again, I'm reluctant to make an opinion based on just that for now because it's need to have a bit more of a dig.
Foxy's who's in knowledge of massive knowledge of football says he's our best signing of the window so far. Great business for less than £1 million.
That's not a particularly high benchmark there, but yeah, we've signed well. We've signed squad players, which were needed, but yeah, the bar wasn't super high.
Lewis, what's his name? The bloke we got from, I can't remember his name. The bloke we got from Bournemouth. Not Lewis, is it? Lloyd Kelly, that's it. Yeah,
Lewis, Billy.
He come for nothing.
Lewis.
He come for nothing.
Newsflash, everybody. Lewis from Bournemouth is on the way.
I noticed he played at right back yesterday in the first half. Jamal Lewis. Anyone see that?
Well, funny you should say that.
Go on, and get it up.
Have the match report. So Magpies beat SPVGG Unterhaching. I'm going with that, and I'm not going to try again.
Hang on, if Lachenmacher was and now you're saying
Unterhaching, however it's meant to be. Any Germans in the chat or people that speak German, please try and unpack that for me because that's even too far for me. So they beat them in a behind closed doors practice match. So they sprung this upon us with a bit of a surprise. Nobody really knew what had happened. There's Big Dan Burn growing his hair out, a bit of action. So we do have a bit of a breakdown. So I don't know if you want me to go through this, Billy, but
yeah, go for it.
So the Magpies ran out 3-1 winners thanks to goals from Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, and Alexander Isak. Who exactly? With Eddie Howe naming different 11s in each half. So Barnes fired United from the Newcastle admins there ahead after 5 minutes when he cut inside and fired home with a trademark finish. So Harvey Barnes doing Harvey Barnes things. The second goal arrived in the 24th minute after a superb move, which resulted in Sean Longstaff finding Barnes, who cut the ball back to Jacob Murphy to sweep past the goalkeeper. Bit of creative license there. I've never seen anybody else write superb move and Sean Longstaff in the same paragraph before. So I'd love to get some highlights of this. This would be fantastic. More slick approach involving Murphy and Barnes. I don't know how it's more slick than the previously superb move. Involving Murphy and Barnes, saw Isak cannon a shot against the crossbar, but he was on the score sheet on the stroke of half time. Last season's 25-goal top scorer raced in on goal and finished smartly in the 43rd minute. So we are 3-0 up at this point with goals from all of our senior players. A much younger side played in the second half. No, we don't say period. Who's the admin? Ben Parkinson's substitute appearance at Bournemouth. Bournemouth last term was so far the only senior match for Newcastle United between them, although 42 cap Greece international. I'm going to say Oddie because Eddie Howe said it's fine to call him Oddie in his interview. So he's called Oddie from now on to everybody.
Yes,
Bill.
that's right.
Let's call him Bill.
Bill. Replaced Nick Pope in goal. Parkinson and Garan Qual both had opportunities to add to the scoreline before Simon Skarlatidis pulled one back from the spot for the German side. But it was a strong start to United's pre-season preparations. So we do have the teams as well for the first and second half. So it was Nick Pope in goal. And then we had Jamal Lewis, who, again, surprisingly, was massively involved in last season's pre-season, is again, very heavily involved this year.
Window.
Well, potentially shop window. What in a behind closed doors match, Billy? The closed shop window.
Was he superb though? Was he superb?
Well, this was their opportunity to write some fake stuff in here, and fantastic 60-yard switches from Jamal Lewis, and
absolutely on fire. This lad, where's he been all our lives? Great, somebody take him.
So I think I'm not sure which way around the fullbacks were, because you've got Lewis Hall and Jamal Lewis. Confusing to say them both together. I don't know who was left and right back. I would imagine Jamal Lewis was on the left, just because I think Lewis Hall was far more technical. Emil Kraft and Dan Burn, presumably the two centre halves. You've then got Jacob Murphy somewhere on the right, I'd imagine. Joe Linton, Sean Longstaff, and interestingly, nobody's really mentioned this. Joe White was in with the big guns. He wasn't put in with the kids. He was in with the big guns. So maybe Joe White has a place in the team next year, or at least as a squad player. I'd be interested to see what our plan is for Joe White. Harvey Barnes and Isak, of course. And then the second half, we made wholesale changes. It was Oddie. We're going with Oddie. Jamie Miley, Cathal Heffernan, who, of course, everybody is kind of touting to be next year's breakthrough player. Along with your Alfie Harrison and possibly Sanusi, although it might be a little bit early for Sanusi, possibly. Depends how he develops. You've also got Ellis Stanton, Leo Shahar, who of course plays for England at youth level. Johnny Emerson, who I don't think I've seen play before. Jay Turner-Cook. You've also got Callum Parkinson. So, yeah, two completely different sides in both halves. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's giving everyone a winner, isn't it? It's basically getting minutes to the legs, isn't it? That's what it's about, really. But the fact we could knock 3 goals in the first half with potentially what we had available to us, a full-strength side. Yeah, it's good. It's good news for me.
I was say, Jackie's just mentioned Lewis played right back. Yeah, they're both called Lewis. You're going to have to be more specific than that. Sorry, Jackie.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I think for me, this is the opportunity for Eddie and the coaching team as well to just have a look at these young players coming through, availability potentially for next season, even if they are sort of, squad players at the bottom end of the pecking order. But really good opportunity. These are names from the academy that we're used to seeing more of the headlines of. So it's exciting to actually see them being taken away in the first place, and then getting the name on the sheet with the lads is great. It's a good opportunity to see how they actually gel with some of the more experienced players as well. So great opportunity for the lads and really, really healthy experience as well. Good.
Super chats to read out. Rob Tantum, £5 super chat. Question for all: right wing position, top realistic pick. I know he's been inconsistent, but I think Eddie would get a number out of Adiemi. Top work as always. The Toon review. Quickly mention that I said Torres of the day, but anyone that we've been mentioned with, really, I'd like.
I think Adiemi's a bit more left-sided, is he not? He plays left generally for Dortmund.
Yeah,
I'm still Brian Mbeumo for me.
Yeah, Marlon was more right, wasn't
he? Yeah, no, Mbeumo all day long for me.
And we know Sam was Kubo until that post earlier. But I don't know who she likes now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mbeumo is probably up there as a realistic pick. I think he's probably got the right attributes to fit into the squad, fit in with the intensity that Eddie likes to play. I think he's got the capability for that high press as well, and the technical ability that we would like to seek and develop too. So yeah, he'd probably be the top realistic pick for me. But I'm an optimistic, unrealistic kind of gal, so let's shoot for the stars. stars.
We've got a $4.99 super chat from Mark Hope. Thank you very much, Mark. I think that's your first super chat on the channel. In fact, it's not because he's done another one. It's another $4.99 super chat from Mark Hope. So thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate that. And Samson Neidorf, who obviously speaks German. Unterhaching is pretty simple. It's Unterhaching with a long A, as in posh, pronounced have. You got this? That's out. Cheers all.
Well, Mark put a comment in his second super chat, so I've just got to.
Oh, he did. Sorry.
Yeah, hey, buddy, Alex. My choice, if Eddie was to go for Man City manager, that would shut the press up. I mean, it would, to be fair. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
What was Samsonite Doves?
So it's Unterhaching. Harking.
Unterhaching.
There you go. Unterhaching.
Nice. I mean, we beat them anyway. So it's fine.
Farking marvellous. So let's have a look at some players, shall we? Start. So you've got some again.
Yes.
Kang-in Lee, PSG. I'm a poet and don't know it.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. So we have seen him. Everybody who watched the Champions League game, I'm pretty sure he got subbed on. I don't think he started either of the games. Maybe I'm misremembering. It's been a while, but I know he at least made an appearance, possibly as a sub. So he is a right winger, typically left-footed. He is a bit slight, but I can't really use that as an excuse anymore because we like Brian Bueno. We know he can do it in the Prem. So I think it's a case of, can they do it in the Prem? So he is 23 years old, and he is on quite a lot of money, as you would kind of assume, because he's at PSG. So 140,000 euros a week with a contract expiring in June 2028. So he's got quite a long time left. So it would be a case of if they want to go in a different direction, they don't think he's the guy. Do they want Xavi Simons? Do they need to make some money? Obviously, Mbappe's just gone, so they've got quite a lot of wiggle room. It's rumoured Ugarte is going to go as well. So I don't really know what PSG are doing. I need to have a look at their window so far. This would be an odd one.
Quick super chat from Michael McIntyre. Start out £10. Thanks very much, Michael, for your continued support and generous contributions.
He only got 1,400 minutes, which is not loads, but again, he has got Dembele in his position at PSG, so maybe that's the thoughts there on why he would want to move, or they would want to move him on. 3 goals and 4 assists, which I think is okay considering the amount of minutes he's played. He did play all in their Champions League campaign, although they did not deserve to get out of the group because that was not a handball. He did get a goal and an assist. Let's scroll down and have a look at the important stuff, shall we? Which is the data. Again, they've done that annoying thing where they've bracketed it into attacking midfielders / wingers and also midfielders, which is going to skew the data. So presumably he's played a bit further back as in midfield, right side of midfield, but then he's also played as an out-and-out winger, which is going to taint his data quite a lot. As an attacking midfielder / winger, he's profiling well in progressive passes, which is really nice. He looks quite creative. He's receiving the ball high up, and his tackle rate is also very, very high. Assist total is tidy. Shot creating actions is tidy. He looks like he's got an eye for a pass, and he's quite creative. That's what this data suggests. And this is based on 1,800 minutes, so slightly more. They've mushed it all together. And then as a midfielder, if we have a look, it just shunts it all into super green and then slightly poorer defensive metrics. Please bear in mind that PSG are the best team in France and win all of the footballs forever. And yeah, I wouldn't take this too seriously, the defensive data, especially from an attacking player, because I think they get quite a lot of license to do whatever the hell they want. So take it with a pinch of salt. He is a very high energy player, and I think we'd have to do some more digging, but I think this is fine. It's not too much of an issue. Possibly aerials could be an issue. 0.25 per 90, and he is 5'8". We'll see. Again, Trippier can win headers, so if Trippier can win headers, anybody can.
He looks like he's not the dribbly boy type of winger, is he? He's more of a passing boy. Look at that. No, successful take hands went quite down, didn't they?
You say that. When I've watched him play with my own eyes, he looks fairly dribbly and quite agile and slight and nippy. But the data would suggest he's far better at the passing side of it. So maybe it's a bit of both. It depends on system and shape, and maybe he's not. Maybe he's told not to do as much. I don't know. There's far too much it could be. because I thought he was quite good at all the dribbly stuff. Who he profiles like is interesting. You've got Willian on this list, Dybala. You've also got Isco, again, a proper tricartista. Iwobi, Bernardo Silva, and Mateus Sule on here, who, of course, we were linked with. And then if we swap this to midfielders, it's basically midfielders who can play wide. Udegaard, Bernardo Silva, Harvey Elliott, Gundogan, Szoboszlai, Brandt. These are all kind of midfielders that also play attacking / wing play and can drift. So you can kind of see what he's about. In terms of his recent games, passing and playmaking is his strengths according to SofaScore. I mean, the FBref data would definitely support that.
Yeah.
They seem to think he plays out there, but I remember the last few times I saw him play, he came on the right-hand side. So maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn he was a proper right-sided player, but...
Well, he's left-footed, so he's ideal for the Eddie Howe's right wing, isn't he?
Well, yeah, that's what you'd have thought. I mean, he was on the bench for the first game against Dortmund and then played in the second, but they actually lost that game. How's he done? World Championship qualifying for... Okay, so he's played 2 recent games. He's actually scored in both games for South Korea internationally, so heavily involved. He got it dropped to 6.7 in the final. Actually, this was in the Coupe de France. So they actually won that, and he played... He came off the bench, which was annoying. What about against Metz? Did he start that game? Yes, he did. Oh, there you go. He started on the right wing. See, I'm not crazy. I wasn't making it up. I've definitely seen him play on the right wing before. So even though this website says he's a left midfielder, he's definitely not. He plays on the right as well. So I forgot Carlos.
Very much a second string PSG side, would you say, looking at that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was against Metz, so on the final day of the season, they didn't really need to...
Bottle of drink, aren't they?
I mean, you say second string, it's still very good.
Oh, it's outrageously good, but I mean... No Marquinhos, no Skriniar.
Oh, he takes corners.
Wow.
Bit of defensive work, 3 completed dribbles. See, he's got some dribbles about him. 2 shots on target. Oh, I've lost him. Hang on, scroll back down. What else we got? Very tidy passing, 93%, a key pass, 1 out of 7 crosses. I mean, he is probably crossing with his wrong foot a lot of the time or doing deep crosses to the back post. 4 out of 7 ground duels. He won his only aerial duel. Okay, that's positive. Again, it is just 1 game, but still interesting data. We will take it indeed. Transfer mark. So he was born in Incheon in South Korea. 29 caps internationally with 9 goals. And they are saying on transfer mark that he can play basically anywhere across the front line. Well, apart from striker, apparently. Current market value at 25. Where was he before? He was at Mallorca. Okay, so a lot of La Liga experience. I didn't actually know that. So Mallorca and Valencia before that. And then he got his move from Mallorca to PSG. Outfit at Adidas. That's what we like.
Yep.
And then, who's he by? Wakai Sports. Who are they? Are they going to be
Change it to YI Sporting. We'll have them. Get in.
Anybody we know here, guys? Angelino.
Angelino used to be at Man City, didn't he?
I don't think we really know.
I mean, I was expecting to be Capdeville. Of course, it must be his son or something.
Yeah, no, he's the highest rated player on their books for agency-wise, and I don't think we've dealt with them before.
I was expecting Far Eastern players on that list, I've got to say, with a name. Not Spanish.
Well, I mean, he's got some decent accolades here and records. Yeah, I thought it was going to be an Asian list, and it's not. He's obviously got his representation from Spain. Youngest South Korean in the history of the UEFA Champions League. Youngest South Korean in the history of European professional football. Youngest non-Spanish player to debut for Valencia, and first Asian in the history of Valencia FC. So, yeah, he's got lots of international accolades. He went to New York on a free transfer. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. He's very much somebody that PSG are just not using as regularly as they could because they're playing Ousmane Dembele in his position. I mean, would they take some money for him? Possibly. Would we want him? Again, possibly. I don't know. I would prefer Brian Mbeumo personally. I think he's already proven in the Prem. I know he's physically capable of dealing with it. I don't know if you guys saw the goal he scored the other day in one of Brentford's preseason games. He absolutely took the roof off the net with a left-footed shot. He's hungry. He's ready for that move, I think. He really is. Apologies to Brentford, but I just think he's ready for that step.
He's more flexible, isn't he, in Bremo, because he can play centre forward if needing be. So that's the reason why someone like Kang-in Lee, or Lee Kang-in, or what we're going to call him, doesn't really work for me, because he literally is, although he says that he plays attacking midfield, but I like him, but not like him as much as the others we've had on the radar. Sam?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. And I think we know that Eddie likes Prem League proven players. I think we could have more versatility with Mbeumo anyway. This kid looks great, but that wage bill, we're trying to reduce this and invest smartly. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a smart investment, but that is raising the bar, which gives us a higher wage bill for others that we'd have to meet and satisfy to keep the other players that we've already got happy if we brought him in at that type of price. So it's not just what we're actually paying to get him at the club and they're going to sell him for. It's actually that wage bill that's sort of putting me off the deal. It was interesting because the Rufiad Benisian actually put in the chat that he has outsold PSG shirts with his name on, and this is kind of what I was referencing earlier about the Japan trip, about having that global reach. I don't think we should get romanticized or distracted by, we want to create fans, so let's go and get this player from that part of the world. Absolutely not. They have to have the right attributes and fit Eddie's system, fit the style of play and the attitude and behaviours of the team.
Couldn't agree more. Talking of global outreach, Mark Nicholson says, give us a shout out, the Zimbabwe Mags.
Oh,
so over there at the tip of the African continent, on into South Africa, then. Ooh, shouldn't say that. But big up the Zimbabwe Mags. Hope you're enjoying the show and the channel. Let's have a look at what people are saying about Lee. People are saying I want Mbeumo, basically. I want Mbeumo. Damn it, Billy. And Mbeumo is an E-type player. Sam is hinting Kubo, lower wages. Johnny Green said apparently Kang-in Lee sold more in shirts than Mbappe. Yeah, interesting. Pab says, I'm not sure Kubo would be much of an improvement to Miggy and Murphy. Just looked at the kids' stats and their average. Wow.
He was a Real Madrid pickup though, so he's got something.
And I was going to say, if you watch YouTube footage, I know stats can only tell a certain side, and I can only give like a fan's perspective here. We've had 0 links with Kubo, so don't anybody panic and think that just because Paul and I like him. But if you have a look at him on YouTube, he just looks like one of those players that every time he gets the ball, it's going to get everybody out of the seat. He has really big moments of magic throughout games. He's quick, he's pacey, he's very, very talented. So that's why I like him. Could we afford him? And equally so, just like we've said with the other player that we've just rated rather, the wage bill would be astronomical for Kubo anyway. So just let me quietly live my fantasy. He hasn't been linked in any way. I just like to have fun thinking we could have Kubo. We can't.
Because he's going to Liverpool.
Because he's going to Liverpool.
A question for Alex here. Is Josh Sargent from Norwich City worth a look at?
I don't know. I haven't seen him play in ages. I mean, I remember he was on occasion dragging Norwich through games in the Prem. That was Eddie Howe's first season, and I remember he was the bright spark for them. I can't say I haven't watched a Norwich game for over 2 years. Not a clue. I'd have to have a look. I remember him developing fairly well, but I'm not in a position to comment, unfortunately.
Peter Waugh says Lee's a baller, and people are saying Josh Sargent's a championship player. Minimal interest in Tony.
I mean, on Josh Sargent, if he'd progressed from that season, by now, wouldn't he? Somebody would have bought him by now. You would imagine. Yeah.
JT Toon says, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Go and get Nicholas Gonzalez from Fiorentina now.
No. Well, maybe.
Yeah, it's what Stephen was saying. With minimal interest, Tony could be a chance to get him. Mbeumo. Yeah. Anyway, next player.
He's ready.
Here he comes. Oscar Bobb.
I don't know if you're supposed to say a longer Bob because it's triple B's, but Bob. Oh, I don't even know.
It's Blackadder, isn't it?
I'll have to ask my cousin in Norway. So he was born in Oslo in Norway. It was also his birthday last week, so he's only just turned 21, so he is just a wee bubba. And he's also left-footed, which we like because we don't have very many left-footers in the squad at the moment. I don't really know where he's meant to play because he just seems to come on and does magical things. It's exactly what he did against us. He came on and broke our hearts when we were beating City, and then they beat us 3-2 because Oscar Bobb just decided to be fantastic for 10 seconds. 300 minutes in the Prem with a goal and an assist. His only goal was against us. Terrible. 218 minutes in the Champions League, and he got a goal in the Champions League as well. I don't know who that goal was against. So you're going to have to take the following data with a big grain of salt, but it does look quite green. Impressive, but it is based on 520 minutes. So not a very big sample size, everyone. However, he looks like he's profiling okay in defensive metrics, in tackles and interceptions. But again, that's the prerequisite to play for City is you go and win the ball back. In terms of progressive, whether it's passes or carries, ball progression, it seems fine on this data, as you would expect. He's got a high technical level. He's dribbly. He's passy. He's very careful with the ball, according to this data. 87.7% passing accuracy for his position. High amount of shot creating actions. Very low shot volume. But again, not really going to tell you a whole lot about what he could do. You know, if you give him a run in a team, this might go to 3 or 4 shots per night. Like you just don't know. It depends. It very much depends.
Cole Palmer, couldn't it?
Yeah, very, very much so. I think that's definitely on the cards. They let Cole Palmer go. Possibly he wanted to force a move because he wanted a bit more playing time very early. But I mean, he's justified it, to be fair. So I think Oscar Bobb's very much in that situation in the coming season where I think he needs to play. It looks like he's got it, whatever it is. He's definitely got some of it, at least. I think he needs to play next season. I just can't see them letting him go. Although they let Cole Palmer go to Chelsea, and it was only about 40 million. So who's to say he wouldn't go? His brief, short sample size of data has him looking a bit like this.
Wow.
You got Musiala on the list, Kvaratskhelia on the list, Isco, of course. And by the way, for everybody who keeps bringing me down about Isco over the last few years, look, he's still balling. Look at the names he's constantly in with. He's not a bad player. The fact that he's constantly in all of these conversations is impressive. You've got Silva, Eze, Dembele, Sterling somehow dragged his name onto this list. It's interesting. It is very, very interesting. Let's see if we can find some of his games. It does say that his strengths are passing and high pressing on here, and that he can play or does play right wing / striker for City. Although I think he just very much comes on as a sub when necessary and just does things.
He scored from left wing for us against us, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he just goes on when necessary. I think he's not at that sort of level where he's starting in his preferred position at the moment. He just plays where he's told to play, depending on what the kind of game state is. He was on the bench in the FA Cup final. He's played in some friendlies recently for Norway. What else have we got? So against Fulham, did he start? I'm guessing he didn't. No, he didn't. When did he actually get subbed on? He got subbed on 82nd minute. Okay, 8 minutes. We can't really look at that. FA Cup against Chelsea. Did he start? No, he didn't. Again, this is why it's hard, guys. Yeah, he played 2 minutes that game. It's just difficult. Some fantastic ratings here in his international appearances against Czechia and Slovakia, against Palace. What about Luton? 5-1 against Luton. Surely they gave him more minutes against Luton. Possibly not. No, they gave him 9 minutes against Luton. All right, so this is pretty useless then. You're just going to have to go and watch Oscar Bobb. Go and watch some Oscar Bobb on YouTube at some point.
Fun for the Carabao Cup game against us. He's definitely started in that game, didn't he?
He did. No, I don't think he did he? Oh, the Carabao Cup game. Yeah, I think I know which one you are talking about. He scored against the Faroe Islands. That's not the one. When did we beat them? There you go, that one.
Yeah.
So, oh God, look at that starting 11. How that was such a long time ago now. Tonali started as well with Paul Dummett with actually a good performance. So they played with a 4-2-3-1. Gomez out wide. Oscar Bobb central behind Julian Alvarez. He played 90 minutes. 2 key passes, 1 long ball, completed all 3 dribbles. I mean, to be fair, 7 out of 8 ground duels. He's got Tonali and Joe Linton in front of him. So that's very impressive. That's very, very impressive. And he was fouled twice as well. Just out of curiosity, what did Joe Linton do duel-wise? Bloody hell, 8 out of 19. And won everything in the air. Yeah, he was a monster in that game. I remember that. Tonali, how did Tonali do duel-wise? It looks like Oscar Bobb pushed Sandra around quite a bit, potentially, and Miley possibly was, not bad from Oscar Bobb, to be fair, in a difficult game for him. What else have we got? 8 caps for Norway so far, 2 goals. His agency is CAA Stella. I'm pretty sure we have some representation from them. Oh, we'll let it load. Contract expires. Ooh, I didn't see that before. That's quite a long time. Yep. What are we now? 2024? Yeah, that's quite far away. 25 mil current market value, but again, he plays for City. He's in the Premier League. They know he's going to be good. I think this is another 40 odd million. Could it be another kind of Cole Palmer purchase? Possibly, but would they let him go? Who knows? If they've got to lose Kevin De Bruyne, if De Bruyne ends up going. So this is CAA. Who've they got? Grealish, Mainu, Ivan Toney. Nobody that we've dealt with, unless this was Tony's representation when we were involved with him.
Gibbs White's on it, though. When we may have spoken to him.
Possibly. Loftus-Cheek, Oscar Bobb, Elanga.
May have spoken to him as well.
Oh, we've broke the page now. We have broken the page. Oh, well. Page is broken. Oscar Bobb, guys, what do we think?
Yes, as long as it means a permanent signing and doesn't mean that Bruno's going the other way.
Yeah, for me, it's the ifs. It's the ifs for me on this one. Like, if we don't have to give them Bruno, if he looks great. If it was a permanent signing, then absolutely, yeah, lots of potential. Nice age profile, left-footed, yeah, all day. But too many ifs involved for me.
Daniel said, I'm just reading Man City will now accept 20 million for Calvin Phillips. Well, I'd accept Megan Fox to come in the house and ravish me stupidly, but it's not going to happen.
That's gracious of them. Bless.
Look how successful City's academy has been throughout Europe. So many top players have started at their academy. Indeed. Mm-hmm. People talk about Evan Ferguson and Julian Alvarez, not linked, but obviously a good player.
I mean, if they would give us a loan with an option, that'd be fantastic. Because then we could just use him, and then presumably the fee could be set. But I don't think they would go for that at all. They would probably sell him if you offered 40 or more, because that would be great for them financially. Because then they can just go pump money into big first team signings.
I think the contract length is very telling that they see him as a talent for the future. So
100%.
Yeah, but they said the same about Cole Palmer.
They did. They did indeed. Sky Sports said that Eddie's been linked with a Joe Biden job. Well, that's interesting. Very interesting.
Joe Biden linked with the England job, probably.
He just had it, didn't he? That's it. Yeah, people are saying that Tony's overrated. What was Fox's comment that you put up? I'm trying to find it.
Oh, just about let's not fund City's next big,
legal
fund City, basically.
No, exactly.
Well, again, they keep going and plot. What, it was 100 mil for Grealish and then 100 mil for Gvardiol, but nobody really talks about 100 mil on Gvardiol. That's kind of been forgotten about. They spent 100 mil on a centre half. and then just nobody talks about it. So if we buy somebody like this, that they will then go and drop 100 on another big player, presumably, well, if needed. But again, I think City's in a bit of a unique situation right now. I think Pep's going to go next year, and I think this is a transitional period. So it'd be really interesting to see what happens.
100%. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. 2 players reviewed, lots of talk about Newcastle United. So it's been a good Sunday night rabbit. We should be back Tuesday night, I believe, with a different kind of show. You've obviously all seen it on YouTube, but it's about contracts and things like that, which Stato is going to work for, and will share with us what he's deduced from it all. But until then, thanks to the mods, thanks to all you lot, especially the super chatters and new members, etc. And thank you to you two too. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we shall see you Tuesday night. Good night, folks.
I can subscribe before you go.
Vote.
And vote, yeah. I keep forgetting that one, but do that too. Good night, everyone.
Away the lads and lasses.
Come back and check out some green.